Hello guys, welcome back to my new video, and in this video I'm going to talk about different eras of wrestling, mainly 7. I'm not gonna go very deep into that eras, but I'm gonna talk about the starting and ending time of that era and the main superstars of that era and the main feuds or storylines or events that took place during that era. So before any further ado, let's move on into the video. Now the first era of WWE, I'm going to talk about only WWE that we are going to discuss is the golden era that started during 1982 and lasted till 1993 for 11 years. And the main star of this eras were Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. And the main storylines that took place was Hogan versus Andre, Hogan versus Macho Man, Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior, Hogan versus Rowdy Roddy Piper, all Hulk Hogan. This can also be named as the Hulk Hogan era. So second era was the new generation era that started from 1993 and lasted up to 1997. The main stars of this era were only Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, Undertaker too, And the main feud of this era and the feud that everybody remembers is Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. This era is also considered as the very worst era in the history of WWE or then WWF because the business was down and except from the very few handful of names on the roster, the wrestlers were pretty bad. No disrespect to them, but still they were not as charismatic, and also they had just come from the boom period of the 80s. So the wrestling was not popular, therefore this era is considered as the worst era or the lowest point of WWE. Now the third era that we're going to talk about is probably most of your favorite, and that is the Attitude Era. Now, very bad impression of Stone Cold Steve Austin, I know, but this era started from 1997 and lasted till 2002. The main star of this era were Hulk Hogan. Guys, Hulk Hogan, and WCW, I mean to say, but were Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Mankind, and I'm forgetting a very other's name too, but still, I don't know. This was the phone name that I could remember right now because Undertaker was in every single era. We can consider Kane too, but these were the 4 pillars of the era. This era is considered as the best era in wrestling despite having pretty worse storylines, but still the business was very high, therefore this era is considered as the very best era of wrestling. But there is one competition to that era, and that is the number 4 in this list, and that era is also called Ruthless Aggression. This era started from 2002 and lasted up to 2008. This era was also very good, this was a kind of similar to Attitude Era, but the in-ring quality was very high at this time. The main stars of this era John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Edge, Rey Mysterio, Attitude Era, Chris Benoit. Am I forgetting somebody? Maybe a lot, because these were the first name that came into my mind while talking about Ruthless Aggression era. Well, I did not watch WWE there in that time period, therefore I could not remember all the storylines, but these were the main guys, and the feud between them is mostly remembered by others people too. This was a very good era, apart from the Attitude Era. People consider this as their top era or favorite era, the best era of wrestling. And let us move to the another era, and man, this was bad. I have not watched that live, but I have heard a lot from the people that this was bad. And yes, I'm talking about PG era. Sounds so brutal with all violence in it, am I right? This era started from 2009 and lasted up to 2013. You may be shocked, like 2013? Well, I'm coming into it, don't worry. And the superstars were kind of same from the Ruthless Aggression era, and now I consider Randy Orton more of a PG era guy. I don't know why, but I consider Randy Orton more of a PG era because of his feud with John Cena. But very long, and it lasted from the starting of PG era until the ending of PG era, so let us not talk about it at all. Well, the stars were the same, but the main feud of this era is John Cena versus Randy Orton, and also CM Punk versus John Cena. Yeah, CM Punk was also a new addition, and also this era is what really kicked off the downfall of wrestling in WWE, to be honest. And I don't know, I can't say a lot about it because I wasn't there when it was happening live. So yeah, the general concept is that PG era is still lasting up to now, but in the official record books of WWE, the PG era ended in 2013, and from 2014 a new era started, that was the reality era. So I am not talking about the SD era, that was before the PG era or during the PG era. Man, there are too many eras to talk about. The reality era started from 2014 and lasted up to 2016. Very short era, and the main thing that happened during this era was the push of Roman Reigns, and nothing else really mattered. Seth Rollins got a decent push in 2015, but the main thing was Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns, everywhere Roman Reigns. The main feud is Roman Reigns versus the fans. Now the last era is the modern era, the new era. According to WWE, that started from 2016 and lasted up to now, but we can minus the pandemic era, which is a separate video, and that is coming, guys. But in the modern era, it was all about Roman Reigns, and I cannot remember any top feuds at all. My God, WWE.